Mr. Cormier seems to think that you scammed him out of a car. This buyer barely got to hit the road. I bought it off of Craigslist. I got incarcerated about 4 days afterwards. Then, now you're suing him. Did the car seller strike again? You resold a vehicle that was not his. You have the Mustang back. No, ma'am. I never saw the Mustang after he took it. So why are we here? Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Keith Cormier is suing William Bush for the return of money he paid for a Mustang. Order. All rise. This case, number 119 on the calendar, the matter of Cormier versus Bolch. Thank you. You're welcome. Judge? All right. It's been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat. Well, this is actually a pretty confusing car case, even for me. So maybe, Mr. Cormier, you can make it easier for me. You purchased a car from Mr. Bolch when month, day, and year. It was September 18th, 2014, and you had not known him before. No, ma'am. Mr. Bulk, what kind of work do you do? Sir, I'm in the oil field, oil and gas. And do you have your own company, or do you work for somebody? No, ma'am, it's my own company. And how long have you had that company? 10 years. Prior to that, did you work for someone else? No, ma'am. I had another company. Same kind of business. Yes, ma'am. Different location. Yes, ma'am. Laredo, Texas. Mr. Bolch, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I just want to figure out who you are. Who is this young man? This is my son. You live with your son. You have family. You have other children. Yes, ma'am. I have 5 sons and 3 daughters and 2 foster kids. David and Diana. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? Mr. Bolch. No, ma'am. Have you ever been convicted of a misdemeanor? Mr. Bolch. No, ma'am. I'm asking you these simple questions because somehow Mr. Cormier seems to think that you scammed him out of a car that you sold to him on the 18th of September, 2014. So I'm trying to get an idea of who you are and whether this is something that was a typical thing for you to do. Now, what kind of a car did you sell him? Mr. Bolch. It was a Mustang. Had you had it for a long time? A couple of years. How old was it? I guess it was around 10 years old. And how much did you sell it for to Mr. Cormier? $3. Very sad. So far we are correct. Mr. Cormier. Yes, ma'am. So far correct. And you didn't know him before? No. Ma'am, you saw the car parked in the street? No. I bought it off of Craigslist? And you looked at it? Yes, Mom. And when you went, you gave him cash for it? Yes, ma'am. He doesn't deny that he gave him cash. And he gave you the car? Yes, ma'am. Did he also give you the title to the car? Yes, ma'am. So you had the car and the title? Yes, ma'am. And it was titled in his name? Yes, ma'am. And he signed the title over to you? Yes, ma'am. All right. Now you can pick it up from there. I probably need a little bit of help. I got incarcerated about 4 days afterwards. It was at my mom's house, and she was trying to sell it. She knows a little bit more as far as details. So you were incarcerated for how long? 14 or 15 months. So you don't know what happened to the car after 14 or 15 months yourself? No, Mom, but you were in touch with your mother for those 14 or 15 months. Okay, now step up. Your last name is Cormier. All right, Mrs. Cormier. Now, your son is incarcerated for 1.5 years. He has this Mustang that he has just purchased for $3. Fee murder. Pick up the story. Why is Mr. Bosch here today? About a week or so after my son was incarcerated, I think it started raining. The Mustang had holes in the roof, and I had no key to it. The key was with my son down in Galveston, about 250 miles away. He suggested I contact Mr. Bosch to see that he had a spare key, which he did. We met at his office, got the spare key. I explained to him I wasn't really sure about what I was going to do with the title. I needed to know the disposition of my son's case. If I would put it in my name, if I was going to sell it. You know, there was lots of different variables going on. And so we had faxed each other, had called each other on the cell phone. I got the key back. So the bottom line is your son never registered the car in his name before he was incarcerated. Right? The title is in your son's name, correct? And you did not register the car. No, ma'am. Okay. And he, Mr. Bosch, gave you the spare key that you requested. What's next? Probably a month or so later, my son's girlfriend, a friend of hers who lived with her dad, wanted to buy the vehicle on payments. And then about a month or so later, and I relayed that to Mr. Bosch, he has nothing to do with it. No, he doesn't but I just wanted to let him know what was going on. Well, I don't know why. I don't know why. There would be no reason to let him know. Somebody else wanted to buy the car, right? On payments. And the car is no longer his. He has turned over the title to your son. I'm assuming. I thought maybe he may want to know why he hadn't received the, They sent a copy of the title. I think, oh, you mean because it had not been taken out of his name yet? Despite the fact that he had turned it over to you. If you were this girl that was wanted to buy it on payments, drove around with it, and didn't register it, if the car got into an accident, his business is liable. He's liable. His children are liable. His family is liable. So it was a courtesy on my part. I believe it wasn't a courtesy. The right thing to do would have been to register the car so that he who had sold you the car no longer has any liability. Now it's your liability or your son's liability. My son's, it's in his name. Well, it's in his name. But then you were going to increase his liability by selling the car to someone who wanted to buy it on payments. Did you sell it to that person? I never fully got to... He asked to take it to his shop, which he did. He gave me $300. $400, and I haven't seen it since. Who's he asked you? This person named Adam. He lived with my son's girlfriend's father. He did his paperwork, his books. He took it to his shop in a little town supposedly outside of San Antonio. To his shop to have it looked at. I haven't seen it since. He was arrested soon after that. And, well, that's the car that disappeared. Just a second. And so I started looking for it. Just a second. I started looking for the vehicle. I've got search results. I drove around looking for it. So now because of both of your irresponsible behavior, I'm just following this. Because of both of yours. His and yours. I don't care about the car. You have a businessman who's got a gaggle of children that he supports. If this car is in an accident and kills somebody, if this car gets tickets, if this car has any involvement with the police authorities, they're coming after him. Outrageous. Outrageous. Actually, not malicious. I don't think you did it maliciously, but you do have to recognize that you exposed him. Now you're suing him. You have the Mustang back. No, ma'am. Did you ever get the Mustang back? I never saw the Mustang after he took it. So why are we here? Because when I found the Mustang on Craigslist in July of 2015, I called the Pflugerville where it was. I called the police department. They said because it wasn't in my name, I needed to go to the DMV and get a certified copy of it, which I did the next day. On the certified copy, and I've got copies of it, I have on May warrant. 2015, Mr. Bolch went and applied for a duplicate title, and he stated on there, okay, and then on May 15th, he resold it to a Freddie. He resold a vehicle that was not his. Well, somebody with his name did that. And maybe it was Adam. Adam is in jail. He's in prison. Just a second. Or maybe Adam's mother. Oh, who knows? Looks the same. No. Ma'am, I'm sorry. I'll take a look. Did you resell the car? No, ma'am. I did not. Did you apply for a duplicate title? Yes, I did. Okay. Tell me when you applied for the duplicate title and why. I guess that was May 1st, 2015. Yes. And my son David he was at this time involved. Just a second. Okay. Do you know what happened with the duplicate title? Yes, ma'am. Why did you get a duplicate title? She had called us. You mean Mrs. Cormier? Mrs. Cormier had called us, informed us that she had lost the title. And once that had happened, my dad had then gone to the DMV. Just a second. She said she lost the title. Yes, ma'am. Oh, just a second. Well, if you gave Adam the car to take to his shop, listen to me carefully. Missy Cormier. Yes, ma'am. If you gave Adam the car to take to his shop just to look at it, you would not have given Adam the title to the car. No, I'd like to see the title to the car. Yes, ma'am. Well, one of the things you're supposed to do, Mr. Bush, is put in the date of the sale because you signed this, as did Mr. Keith Cormier, but you didn't put in the date of the sale. It's a good idea that you do that. Okay. So now she has her copy of this. So now my question is, why would she call you for a duplicate title? Judge Judy continues in a moment. Where had the car been impounded? Once was with her son. I don't know if they parked it. All I know is we got a phone call, and Mrs. Cormier was trying to get it out of impound. I believe everything he says. And later today, why didn't you give her the car and put the car in her name? Well, she wasn't around at the time, so I just went on and put it into my name at the time. And then when we found her, then we was going to do the transfer. You think I'm buying this story? Real cases. Real people. Judge Judy. Keith Cormier says William Bosch owes for the return of money he paid for a Mustang. Go ahead. Mrs. Cormier had then informed us that her son Keith was driving. and the title flew out the window. That is the story that we got. We didn't ask no questions about it. We said, okay, but once we get this duplicate, we expect this car to be changed over. Now, my question to you is, did she ever tell you that her son was incarcerated? She did. We then asked if we could switch the title in her name. She made the date. She said next Tuesday I'll be free. When she said that, we waited. We worked 2 blocks from the DMV. We said we'll drive you over. We'll sign everything over there, and you can get it done. She never appeared on that date. She called 2 weeks later, and then we rescheduled it again. She did this a number of times, and she never appeared while it's still registered in Dad's name. It's no longer registered in your name. Not no more. Is it registered in the name of either of these 2 people? Do you know? No. Do you know that it's not? Yes. In whose name is the car registered? Freddie. And do you know who that is? Yes. Ma'am, who is it? It is a fellow who contacted me. He ran our license plate because the car was impounded twice. The car was impounded. Impounded twice. He contacted me, said he traded his car. He's about 17 at this time. And at the time that he contacted me, said he traded his car. They took his car and some money and gave him that car with no title. So he ended up getting pulled over, and they asked him who Bill Balk was. Do you remember the date of the call from Freddie? It was around May 15th, because that's the day that we transferred. So it was about a 15-day stretch. May 15th of what year? 2015. Did you ever receive any impound bills for your car? No, ma'am. Where had the car been impounded? Once was with her son in San Antonio. That's where the car was impounded at. I don't know if they parked it. All I know is we got a phone call, and Mrs. Cormier was trying to get it out of impound. I believe everything he says. I believe everything he says. Wow, good. So I don't know where your car is. Take responsibility. You got busted. Your mother did not take appropriate caution, so that Mr. Balk had no responsibility for your car. You didn't take proper precaution. Your son didn't take proper precaution. And I find that neither one of these 2 people had anything to do with getting your car impounded, getting the title transferred, and reselling it. I don't see any evidence of that. None. Your case is dismissed. I have a picture right here that shows that the car is parked in front of my mom's house. October 2015. We are done. Parties are excused. You may step out. I paid $3.500 and got scammed by this guy. I think that they saw him as an easy target, and they could take a quick dollar. They're saying that he was driving the vehicle, and the title flew out the window. And I made these bogus phone calls. You cannot trust everybody. But you know what? It can't ruin your optimism about life and people. And now, the next case. All parties in the matter of Dickerson was false. Step forward. Robbie Dickerson is suing his sister, Shalonda Falls, for unpaid traffic tickets. Mr. Dickerson, you bought a car. Put it in your sister's name. This is your sister. Yes. Miss, who paid for the car? I did. If you paid for the car, were you making a gift to your sister of the car? Yes. And why were you making a gift to your sister of the car? So my dad can be ran from point A to point C. So that's what I was doing. Well, but the car is kept in your name. So if you were making a gift to your sister, why didn't you give her the car and put the car in her name? Well, she wasn't around at the time. What do you mean she wasn't around? She wasn't around at the time when I went and purchased the vehicle. Oh, that's okay. So I just went on and put it into my name at the time. And then when we found her, then we was going to do the transfer and switch everything into her name when we found her. You think I'm buying this story? I'm not buying this story at all. So far, Judge Judy continues in a moment. All I want to know is what proof you have. Okay, well, he did it. Shh, just settle it. First thing you have to show me is proof that he called Child Protective Services. Well, I don't have proof that he did it. Well, that's all I need. That's what I need for your counterclaim. Real cases. Real people. Judge Judy. Robbie Dickerson says his sister, Shalonda Falls, owes for traffic tickets. Shalonda is countersuing for a false CPS report. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I bought the vehicle. Oh, I know you bought the vehicle. And the vehicle is in your name. Correct. And she drives the vehicle, and she got parking tickets. Correct. When she got the car. Okay. You want the car back? No, miss. Well, because this car is still in your name. Right? Correct. Right. Yes. So you just get a marshal, and you go and get the car. Correct. If it's your car. Correct. But your sister's going to tell me another reason that you didn't put the car in your sister's name. Do you have a driver's license? I have a driver's license. Why didn't he put the car in your name? Because it's his car. He's not trying to give it to me. Oh, fine. Then that's very easy. That you were driving the car? Yes, I was chauffeuring my dad. Good. And you got tickets? Yes, I did. While you were driving? I got one ticket. You got a ticket, so you have to pay for it. Right? Right. Why didn't you pay for it? I went to court for that ticket. It's right here. I got proof. It got thrown out. It got thrown out. It got thrown out. I'd like to see it, because that's his lawsuit. February 9th, 2015. Cell phone use while driving. Is that the ticket? No. Miss? No. This is... No. Your Honor. No. Your Honor. I'm sorry. Very good. So if that's not the ticket that you're talking about, this was a cell phone use, and motor vehicle operated without insurance was dismissed. This is Alliance 1 with the collections. And then the tickets are right here. I'm so sorry. Great. This is all the information for the tickets. Can I say something? No. Okay. All these different tickets. Right. They were not mine. Everybody else drives that truck. My Histwine brother. My daughter. Everybody has drove that truck. And they still drive it. I'm not the only one that drives that truck. So that's not my ticket. Well, just a second. Just a second. Hold on. So other people use the vehicle? Yes. Correct. Okay. I am going to suggest to you, Mr. Dickerson, that unless you could prove to me that she has sole custody of this, and nobody else is permitted to drive it, since the car is in your name. And what she says is, these tickets are photo enhancement tickets. Our officer is not there at present at all to... Oh, do you have her driving? To take pictures of them? Oh, you have... Do you... Because she's the only licensed driver to drive the vehicle at the time. My dad can't drive. He only has one foot. No, no, no. That's not what she's saying. She's not saying your dad drives. She says that there are other people that drive. There's other people that live in the home. That's a lie. Your Honor. They don't have to live in the home to drive the car. They don't. What I'm going to suggest to you is take the car back. Do you understand? What kind of car did you buy? It was a 99 Chevrolet Tahoe. Great. No, I have my own vehicle. Just, where is the car now? The vehicle is still at the house where she lives it. I get it. It's out of my name. Well, whose name is it in? The ticket is in my dad's name and her at the time when these tickets was present. Oh, just a second. So, at the time that these... Yes, miss. They was already out of my name. So, it's out of your name. Yeah, and it never was in my name. Great. But they're coming back into me. Okay. You have a counterclaim that he filed a false child protective services against you. I got 30 seconds before lunch. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Well, these are all the officers that I took cards for coming to my house every night, waking me and my children up, stating they had to check on my kids because I was falsely neglecting my kids. He was the CPS worker. I have proof that the cases are closed. Just a second. Just a second. All I want to know is what proof do you have? Okay. Well, he did this because of the tickets. Shh. Just a second. Okay. First thing you have to show me is proof that he called Child Protective Services. Well, I don't have proof that he did it. Well, that's all I need. That's what I need for your counterclaim. But I have all this right here. Proof that he called Child Protective Services. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $498 for the tickets. Counterclaim is dismissed. Thank you. Your Honor, this is lunch. Thank you. Thank you. Your Honor, thank you. The parties are excused. You may step out. Judge Judy continues in a moment. I'm just glad it's over. It's ridiculous because it's family. I'm happy that I received my justice. It's hurting me because we're not close like we used to. And I would never do that still. I still love my sister. And my family's going to always be family. I just hope that it's all over and we just get close back like we was and just move on. She knew I love her. You're right. You're right. It's over.